I just want an option to purchase at this certain price. And sometimes you can buy options for very low, $500. Give me an option. What do you got to lose? $500, but you might make 50,000. Options are powerful. You might want to look up options, real estate options. There's all these people that wrote these books. You look up real estate investing books. I mean, there's thousands of them, right? All these late night. All those people, the Carlton Sheets, the late night. You know what's crazy about that stuff? It's all true. All the stuff that your grandparents said was all scam, no, all that stuff's all true. All the stuff they teach about how to do subject to, how to do options, how to take money with no money down, it's all true. It looks like scams, but it's not scams. It all has an element of truth to it. Okay. Now some of these guys are scam artists. Okay. So some of these guys learn how to preach this stuff. They learn how to talk the game, but they've never actually bought a property. So they get up there and they sell their books and tapes and things and make a fortune doing that instead for 10 months. But I can drive you out to some of my houses. Jeffrey's been to all of them. Right? Yep. Jeffrey manages them. I mean, there's a lot of people doing the deal every single day out there in the trenches that you can learn from. All right. So I'm going to open it up for questions here in a second. But first of all, here's a couple of pretty cool little goals to think about. I remember when the thought of owning $1 million worth of real estate was like beyond comprehension. When it's not that. Actually, it could actually be 300. $1 million not that much, is it anymore? But if you don't own $1 million worth of real estate, or you never have owned $1 million worth of real estate, that would be a good little goal. Now, chances are buying 10 homes is going to be more like $1.5 million or $2 million. But get 10 homes. It's so easy. Once you get 10, I mean, my thing is, I'd have 100 homes right now if I kept all the homes that I bought over the years. But I sell them, and all of a sudden I think I want some cash or something, so I'll sell one off, or I'll get an offer on something. I'll be like, I paid 100 for that. You give me 200 for it? Okay, give me the money. And I think, then 5 years later, it's like, that thing's worth $350,000. I'm like, why did I sell that thing? But it's a good problem to have. Now the thing about it is, when you own multiple houses, first of all, think about what's the worst that can happen here. People get scared. I remember somebody, who was it? It was another investor I used to talk about, and I told her, I said, I've got several $1 million in real estate debt. She was like, that just scares the daylights out of me. I was like, it's not scary to me at all, because even if half of them are vacant, the other half pays all of the payments and then some. So it's not scary. All of my houses would have to be vacant. What are the chances? I mean, drive down the street. What are the chances that all of the houses on that side of the street are vacant? Have you ever seen that? I don't know if I've ever seen an entire street vacant. That's the same averages, especially here. But the more homes you buy, the more of a superwoman you look like, or a superman. And you're not. You're not anything special. But when you walk up to somebody, you say, yes, I own multiple rental properties. They're like, you. It's like, all I do is go buy a bunch of stuff. I went shopping. Yeah, I'm a Superman, But what I'm saying is, it's not only true in the perception. If you're a realtor and you own several homes, and you say, yes, I own several real estate properties, all of a sudden, you just sprint from here to here in your client's mind. They're like, because they think it's some like superpower to own multiple houses. It's not. It's very simple. If you're dead broke right now, and you do a subject to, or maybe an option, or maybe a lease back, or a lease purchase, and pick one up, and then pick one up over here with a couple $1,000, scrape a couple $1,000 together, sell some clothes or something. Just do something to get a couple properties. Okay? I'm telling you, you wouldn't believe some of the things we did to get some of our properties. We lived in a camper one time. That's for a different story. That's a different time. But we lived in a camper one time. And actually, I will tell you the story real quick. We were in a campground, but I owned a 45-acre ranch and another rental property, and I was buying my third. We really lived It's Shady Acres Campground. Okay, you go right up here. Shady Acres. It's fitting. Have y'all ever been? It's on 231 in Lebanon. Beautiful campground. We lived there on $270 a month was our water and electric. And my banker that knew me, that had already loaned me money for the first house and not the second, but he called me back and said, Jeremy, I've known you for a while. I know you're a good guy, but after talking to the underwriter, you own a 45-acre ranch and you live in a camper. He's like, come on, Jeremy, you don't live in a camper. I said, do you think I'm lying to you, really? He's like, I said, I don't know what to believe anymore, Jeremy. He was like, because the underwriter was coming back saying, we don't believe this. We don't believe that somebody that owns multiple houses would be in a camper. And my wife and I lived in that campground, and we had the receipts to show for it. We got approved, but it was not without some disbelief. So we did that for a short period of time. I mean, we were willing to do some crazy things to get to our goal, but it was worth it. I'll tell you, it was really worth it. And you wouldn't believe some of the things you can live without, when you really try it. Does anybody have questions? Yes, sir.
Would you mind giving us some information on the last deal you bought, and then how you went about running the numbers on that property?
The way that one of the last ones that we bought is one that you're involved with, and this came from a wholesaler, and it's currently under construction. And the way that I ran the numbers on that one, basically, one of the things that we're learning about this market right here is that anything under 200,000 is probably going to sell. If you can find something for 100, 130, and put 20 into it, you're going to make a profit on it. Now we're in it's been a rising market. We've really been helped out by this rising market. It's like, even if you're a little wrong, by the time you get done with the thing, it's already risen in value, right? So you got to be really careful. But basically, just the way that I showed, I do everyone the same way. So I have a little spreadsheet, and I put in purchase price, MLS, last sale price, prior sale price, Zillow's estimate. I average all that stuff out, and then I'll run it by somebody else, and I'll say, kind of like what you kind of do when you find stuff, and just make sure that I'm right on it. And the thing about it is, if you make a bad buy, if you do, after doing all the right things, you can always rent it out. You can always just rent the thing out, okay? And let's say you do everything wrong. You buy it too high. You put too much money. You overestimate the rent. What is the net impact going to be on it? Okay? So you hoped you were going to get a check for $30,000. But the worst thing in the world happened, and you were wrong about it. And so therefore, you have to rent it out for less than your payment. Now that sounds scary, right? Oh my God. But how much less than your payment is it going to be? If you have a house with $1,000 payment on it, and you have to rent it out temporarily because you made every mistake known to man. Now, what are the chances that you're going to do all that? Very low, but I'm talking worst case scenario. Are you going to be $200 a month? I mean, what happens if we get an unexpected $200 a month bill? We just roll with it, right? We got to pay it, If you're upside down $200 a month, the worst thing in the world, your first real estate deal was a bomb. It just blew up, and everything I said went wrong, and and you have to pay $200 a month for a year because you made a bad buy. In a year, you've built up the appreciation. Maybe you can refinance. Maybe you can sell it, and you're fine. What I noticed, so I own multiple companies, okay? And back in the financial crisis, so Bob and I started our real estate companies the same year, 2007. That was like the exact wrong year to start a real estate company. If you were going to pick, when do I want to start a real estate company? And you look back 30 years, 2007 would be the worst year you could possibly pick, and me and Bob both picked that year. We started it, okay, so we put hundreds of thousands of dollars into building it, and all of a sudden the economy just tanks, right? Totally collapses. Now who went out of business? Who went bankrupt? Builders, speculators, flippers. Me, I had, I think, like 30 properties at that time. Now, I had my vacancy rates were up a little bit. But what I noticed was my rental properties soared right through that whole downtime. They did just fine. Yeah, the properties dropped in value, but they just chugged right along. I didn't have to, it's not like I had to take on a second job or something to handle my rental properties. They took care of themselves. So I learned not to be afraid of rental property. I'm more afraid of flips than I am rental property. And see, the thing about flips are sexy. And they're that big sugar rush that you're looking for, right? All of us want that, right? 30,000 bucks, yeah. All right, that's great. But then you look back, if all you're doing is flipping, you look back and you go, man, I flipped 5 houses. I made $150,000. Where the heck did all that money go? Where is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone. It happens to the best of them. You know, if you just focus on trading, see, a flipper is not an investor. You're not an investor. You're a trader. You're a dealer. You're a dealer if you're buying a house and fixing it up and flipping it. You're a dealer. Okay? Nothing wrong with being a dealer. You know, of real estate, I mean. Yeah. But that's what you are. Dealers always seem to be broke. You know? Except for the dealers that have a real estate portfolio. If you meet somebody with 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 properties that had them for a long time, they've been doing this forever, you get a pretty good idea they're pretty solid financially. They've learned, because real estate investing in rental property is boring. Okay? It's boring. There's nothing sexy about picking up a rental property. You pick it up, and then it just sits there. It's like, where's all the rush in that? Just sits there, man. I thought I was going to get, feel like Superman. You do. The best you ever feel is when you get up here in front of an audience and say, I got 30 rental properties. Wow. That's the best you're going to feel. But it's boring. But the people that do the boring things, you always hear about that. People that do the boring things over and over. The people that stick it out, grind it out, keep adding the properties. People that keep putting their money into the 401k. You hear about those people? They started when they were 20. Their grandmother taught them to always save 20% of their income. They've been doing it for 45 years. Now they got $10 million in the bank. Boring, slow, massive fortunes built. That's how you do it. The sugar rushes can help. You make 30, you make 50. Take that 30 and 50 as fast as you can and put it down on a rental property. Get rid of that money. Unless you have this aversion to spending money like I have with my shoes, it's going to be gone. And it seems like it seems almost mystical. It's like no matter what I do, the money just evaporates. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. And but that's why you want to put this money in places where it will grow. Put it in places where it will go. I mean, literally, you could walk out of here today and be under contract and have a rental property this month, or another one, or 2 more. I remember thinking once you do a couple, and you're like, wow, that's a lot easier than I thought. And the cool thing is, once you've got a couple, banks are looking for you. They want you. They want you bad. Okay, they see that you can manage rental property. They'll be sending you solicitations, calling you. I get messages. I get IM. Hey, Jeremy, I see that you invest in real estate. Really love to hook up with you and have coffee. Please. Can I please loan you some money? I'm always nice. I'm always like, yeah, we'll hook up sometime. See what kind of money you have. So, what other questions? Yes.
What's the lowest amount of cash flow that you would get a rental? Like, say this one's only going to make $200 a month. Would you even bother?
Yeah, I would. It depends on acquisition. I bought one a couple months ago. It's a low, but see, I got a 30-year note on it. Very low down payment. Great interest rate. Beautiful house. I like the house. Got a little emotional about it. And I think it cash flows a couple hundred a month. But here's the thing. Remember, when you talk about cash flow, please remember this. It's real cash flow, not the cash flow where you're just kind of not factoring in vacancy. I'm not factoring in vacancy. Not the cash flow where you're figuring 0 repairs. I'm talking about, you said $1,000 a year for repairs, 1 month out of the year for vacancy, and you divided that by 12, and you said, okay, even with those, I'm cash flowing $200. Then I'm okay with the 200. Now, there's another little thing that'll happen when you run your numbers, and you really want to do this deal. You'll just conveniently brush a few of these expenses out of the way. I don't think about that over there, I'll just worry about that later. So don't do that. Know what you're buying. But honestly, Larry Kendall, he says even if you can break even on a property, you should do it.
For the principal.
Yeah, you're paying the principal down every month. Well, the tenants are paying the principal down every month, and the property is going up in value. I didn't even go over appreciation and all that stuff. I mean, what the property is doing when you put it under contract, the return that you get is unfathomable. Just trust me. I'll be happy. I'll feel like I hit a grand slam home run if you just take some sort of action out there. Anything, even if it's just go by Barnes & Nobles and pick up a book. Pick up Rich Dad Poor Dad, or Retire Young, Retire Rich. That was the first one that I read of his. It's really good.
I've got all those books in my office if anybody wants to borrow them.
Yeah. Any other questions about real estate investing, flipping, taxes?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
It's actually 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
If you go back to when you covered subject to,
Yes.
when you're buying a property. So if it's pre-foreclosure, do you always call or do you knock on the door?
Either one, whatever way you can get a hold of them. And the goal is to get face to face with them and say, I have a solution for you. I will take this over. Now you got to be rock solid that you're going to follow through with everything that you're saying you're going to do. And you got to sit down, you got to disclose, especially since you're a realtor. I'm a realtor. I'm a professional. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. Your property is going to go back to the bank as of next Wednesday, but you're behind 3 months in payments. I will catch that up for you. I'll give you 30 days to get out and get to your new place. I'll pay your mortgage for you, and all you're going to do is you're going to sell me your home subject to the existing mortgage. That's what it's called. You're buying the home subject to an existing mortgage.
So the second question on that was, do you ever give them the option to stay in the house?
You can, if you think, I rarely do, only because if they have gotten so far behind that they can't even make their payments, or they're unwilling to make their payments or whatever, they need a different solution. They need to move in with grandma, or they need to do something else and get their life back in order. Sometimes a life event happens that puts them a little bit behind and they just can't catch up. In that case, I might consider it. Let's say they had a health scare and they were out of work for 3 months. And they got 3 months behind on their mortgage. But they're back to work, but they just can't get enough money. They're paying current payments, but they're 3 months behind. The bank just says, we're foreclosing. I might go in there and say, look, okay, if you're willing, you're going to lose this house. I'll let you stay here. You keep paying me the payment. I'm going to pay back what you paid. You're going to have to pay me a little bit more, though. You're going to have to pay me $300 on top of what your payment is. And I'll lease purchase. I'll even sell you back the property, But I got to get my return. I usually get a 10 to 15% return on what I do. And you just explain it to them. And it has to be a win-win, And you can learn about this through, there's 100 million YouTube videos on how to do subject to. I don't do as many of them anymore because I've got the ability to just pay cash on a deal, and just now I can just, but back in the beginning, that's all I did. Stuff back when I didn't have a lot of money. I did all the things I had to do. And then you kind of get lazier as you get more wealth build up because the banks are begging you to take their money to get the properties. You almost got to hold them back and be like, have you found another property yet? No, I'm looking, okay. So, I would take a couple of these different methods, options, subject to, and even just finding out, if you're not ready yet, finding out where do I need to be to buy my first investment property. Several people in this room bought their first investment property after, working through me and learning some stuff, and they already knew some stuff. But just figure out what you need. You know, what do I need? Do I need 1 year tax return of selling real estate? Do I need 18 months? Do I need 2 years? When will I be able to buy an investment property? And then the other thing is house hacking. We didn't talk about house hacking, but you can buy a duplex, live in one side, rent out the other. I did that a couple of times. Sold, which I should have kept. Almost every property that I sold, I should have kept. But everybody, it happens to the best of us, you know, we want the cash instead, and so, but, subject to is it's a good method. It's few and far between the amount of opportunities to do that. You gotta find people that are in pre-foreclosure, but it's a good strategy. All of these are good strategies. Pick two and decide you're gonna learn about them this week. Any other questions? All right, this is all recorded. Becky's got a recording here. And I don't know if Facebook Live kept going.